I literally have the most wonderful job in the world. I work with the most fantastic people on the planet. They're our wives, our sisters, they're our daughters, and they're our mothers. Each day, they invite me to join with them in some of the most intimate and special moments of their lives. They allow me to bring new life into the world. But here's the con. Most of them manage to get pregnant all by themselves. They then nurture a fetus inside of them for the best part of a year. They then go through labour, and we don't call it that because it's so terribly easy. And then they look at me and say, "Oh, thank you. Like I've done something so wonderful." I should be thanking them, and moreover, I'm more than happy to take the undeserved credit. When we look at the science behind conception, it's really a miracle that any of us are here. You see, women are born with 1 to 2 million eggs. By the time they get to puberty, there's only a couple of 100,000 left. During the entire course of their life, they'll release between 300 and 400. So the quality of these eggs is really, really important. And quality control, therefore, I guess forms the backbone or the hallmark of female reproductive biology. Let us contrast that with the male, whose approach to reproductive biology is best described as shock and awe. Instead of 200 or 300 sperm cells over the course of a lifetime, the man will release 200 to 300 million with each episode. And I guess that's why we consider it a pass on a semen analysis if 94% of them look completely abnormal. That's like scoring 6 out of 100. And if 50% can't even swim in the right direction. But the differences don't end there. You see, if I have pelvic pain, it's only going to be one of two things. Either my appendix has exploded and I've finally paid attention to it, or I've eaten far too much cheese and I'm constipated. Women have everything I have in my pelvis, aside from perhaps the cheese. But they also have 2 ovaries, 2 tubes, a cervix, a vagina, and perhaps the most incredible organ in the body, the uterus. During the course of pregnancy, the uterus will expand to several hundred times its normal volume. It then contracts and delivers a healthy baby and the placenta, possibly the greatest thing ever made by mankind, and it really wasn't made by mankind so much as womankind. The placenta acts as the liver, the lungs, the spleen, the kidneys, and plays an integral role in the developing immune system of the baby. And it does all of this without a single nerve cell. That is, it's not under the control of the brain. So to recap, I work with the most wonderful half of the globe's population, and my specialty seeks to study the 2 most amazing organs in the body. But this is not why my job is just so wonderful. You see, so much of medicine is devoted to prolonging life. In fact, the most likely time that any of us are to spend in a hospital or undergoing a surgical procedure is in the last moments of our life. Now, let's forget for a second as to whether or not this is an appropriate or sensible way for us as a community to be using our resources. But instead, let's ask ourselves, is this really the way I want to be spending my last moments? Either hanging out with the people that care about me and I care about, or undergoing a surgical operation. To that end, the discipline of medicine that I'm involved with is largely about quality of life. Most of my patients are women in the prime of their life, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who have truly debilitating medical conditions. They either have abnormal bleeding, which means that they feel tired all the time and can no longer wear white pants, or they have incontinence, which means they can't watch funny movies, can't go out, and interestingly enough, increase their risk of requiring nursing home care more than anything else you can do in life. Or they have severe and debilitating pelvic pain that stops them from doing the things that they enjoy. And the interesting thing is all of these things are fixable, and readily so. I saw a woman a couple of weeks ago who, at the age of 28, developed incontinence after having a baby. And our team was able to perform a pretty routine 30-minute procedure on her, and I went to see her the next morning in the hospital to see if she could go home. And she was sobbing, and I thought, oh no, what have I done? I said, look, I'm really sorry, have we caused you some pain? She said, no, I don't have any pain, but I've been coughing. And I thought, terrific, it's not my fault, it's all the anaesthetists. I said, well, see, sometimes what they do is they put a tube down your throat while you're asleep. She said, no, it's not that. It's the first time I've been able to cough in 6 years without losing bladder control. And I thought I'd tell you this story for two reasons and to highlight 2 points. The first is to just showcase just how human that which we do in healthcare is. And it's precisely this human characteristic that protects us somewhat in healthcare and as caregivers from being automated. Machines, I don't think, will ever be completely able to do what it is that we do. And the second point is this, is to just show how early we are. We know a lot, but there's so much more we need to know. I think the natural evolution of medical therapies is this. When we don't know a whole lot about something, our approach is surgical. I don't know what that lump is, but I know I don't like it, I'm going to cut it out and throw it away. As our understanding increases, we develop pharmaceuticals. And we say, well, I'm starting to understand the disease process, we can keep it at bay by doing this, we don't need to cut you. And then I think as we progress, gene therapy is on the horizon. So to that end, my point is that I am incredibly excited about the state of healthcare globally, and I can't wait to see what we do next. Thank you.